Hey all! This is my audio commentary for my Ascension 10 Ironclad run in 6 minutes and 44 seconds. As always, remember to like and subscribe. I'm going to try and upload some different styles of content soon because I think there's more to say about speedrunning and Spire 2 in general than just uploading runs. Getting straight into it though, this leafy poultice transforms a strike and defend into a whirlwind and fight me respectively. Whirlwind is widely regarded as the speedrunning card in both Spire 1 and 2. But I think it's worth considering briefly why that's the consensus. Put simply, if you have enough energy and flat strength buffs, such as Fight Me, Whirlwind can dumpster most fights in one turn. An AoE X-Cost card just indiscriminately beats every encounter in the game, barring a couple. It's especially effective in Overgrowth, since the act is basically all AoE encounters, like the dastardly triple slime fight. Picking up a spoils map is almost always worth it for A10 speedrunning. The hardest part of the run is making it through the last two bosses of Act 3, so having a 600 gold cash injection to buy as many resources as possible for those fights in particular is often worth the little shreds of time you might lose in Act 1 and the opening of Act 2. From having a curse in your deck. With Fight Me, I don't mind struggling to draw into my Whirlwind if my strikes are all buffed by 3 or 4 strength. I deliberate a little on taking the Sword Boomerang, but ultimately decide it's worthwhile. Fight Me and Sword Boomerang is what we in the speedrunning community call a super combo. Assuming both cards are upgraded, Sword Boomerang deals 28 damage after a Fight Me, far more energy efficient than any other card I have in my deck currently. Single target fights, such as the Ceremonial Beast, are where Whirlwind decks typically falter most, so Sword Boomerang is filling an important niche in this deck. An input on my controller doesn't go through at this rest site. No chance. And I upgrade this defend instead of a bash. I don't choose to save and quit because that 8 block goes a long way in surviving Act 3. On this turn 3, I pop an attack potion to try and find any vulnerable source after I draw my Whirlwind and Sword Boomerang, but no dice. I miss about 30 damage from not seeing vulnerable here, which I think means I don't lose too much time for not upgrading this bash. This fight would last the same amount of turns anyways, but it still nags at me watching this back. I get dazed seeing Tezzacatra, but none of her good relics, so it takes me a little time to come to a decision. I only figured this out on watching this run back, but the extra energy from the Seal of Gold matters in every single turn after I pick it up. The downside is mitigated given I'm trying to kill as quickly as possible as well. I really like Thunderclap in speedruns. I think every runner I've watched and verified for the speedrun.com leaderboards has never picked up this card, and I'm really unsure why. It's a really big damage bonus for 1 card draw and 1 energy. Now, the card's efficacy outside of speedrunning are more dubious. Chemex solves the issue of this deck not having found Bloodletting or Expectifight or even an Offering. It's the first of many relics that'll keep this Whirlwind relevant for the rest of the game in lieu of extra energy. With it, all of the flat damage bonuses on the card effectively have 2 more energy to play around with. Speaking of those flat damage bonuses, Miniature Cannon. I'm going to slow down this shot buying sequence to explain every decision I made. 007. Your mission? Buy consistency with the money we provided you from the spoils map Gold Drop. Alright Q, what do I need to do? Firstly, infiltrate the merchant cellar. There you will find a mysterious grey potion with a die painted on the bottle. Second, bribe him to remove a strike from your deck. You'll have enough gold for later in your mission anyways. Finally, you then must enchant your copy of Thunderclap with the Merchant's Royal Stamp. You're going to need to see and hold on to this card as much as possible so you can always unleash Codename Whirlwind alongside it. Excellent work, Q. I'll go through this rest site en route to the end of this act. 007, you're forced into another elite if you do that. 007? 007? Alright, I'll stop the roleplay, but hopefully you get the gist. Picking up consistency is necessary because speedrun strategies are entirely reliant on seeing its damage plan quickly enough to not only be fast, but to be able to survive. This Entomancer fight is a prime example of this. Because of some poor draws caused by its hive power, I'm forced into using both of my potions here if I want to continue the run. Swinging from that disastrous fight into an event that will immediately save me against the Knowledge Demon, the Stone of All Time's Vigorous enchantment has my wand do double damage the first time it's played, effectively. Regal Pillow is going to help me return to a more comfortable amount of health, but as you'll see in this fight, I do need to get a little lucky to beat the Knowledge Demon. Vaku, as usual, serves as no help, as I pick up what is currently a useless jeweled mask. What Vaku can't provide to me in damage, the 1-2 punch from the Knowledge Demon can. Helping this along is picking up Mystic Lighter. This relic is frankly absurd. 9 extra damage on top of my wand means it is doing more than triple its base value. Even after I've used my Vigorous Charge on the wand, it'll still gain the buff from Mystic Lighter, which is particularly of importance against the test subject. I won't make a whole thing of it like I did in my last video, but basically, I can't just hyper buff a whirlwind to steamroll the boss in one turn. The droplet of precognition from the Crystal Ball event is going to be excellent to guarantee I have all of my damage for a turn to close out the test subject's second or third phase, or the Queen fight. Much like the last run again, this trial event doesn't add a curse to my deck, as it does 2/3 of the time. This Scrolls fight is the first question mark encounter I've seen the entire run. I don't have a Doozy bracelet, so the odds of only having seen one event encounter over 3 acts with this many event nodes is astronomically low. If I had seen more encounters this run, the problem with this deck's lack of consistency would have been exposed. At full HP and with the droplet of precognition in my bar, I feel quite comfortable going into the test subject fight, though I realize there's a couple things I need to do. I can't use the Vigorous Whirlwind charge in the first phase to beat the boss down too quickly, because I'm risking drawing poorly on the first turn of the second phase. For that reason, I find lethal with Fight Me and Sword Boomerang, and then I'm able to take out the second phase in one turn, preventing 3 wounds from being added to my discard pile from the stabbing effect. Now in the third phase, I fortunately don't draw the Whirlwind on the intangible turn, and I know from there the fight's pretty much solved. Using this droplet of precognition to draw into the 1-2 punch guarantees lethal against the fight. Even though I'm on low HP, this opening hand gives me a lot of joy. At this point, I know I've won the run. Thank you so much for watching, like and subscribe, and I'll see you again hopefully sooner rather than later.